All right. What is the date? The 9th. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is grades. So, how much is your formative grade worth versus your summative grade? And this has been the same for probably most of you for the last couple of years. So, what is your formative grade worth? You guys know? Tim, what is it?
I'd say 30%.
No. How about Dominic? Do you know? No? What was it last year, guys?
80.
Not 80. Whoa. That'd be pretty heavily weighted on your homework.
What's the split? 80-20, right?
So what would your formative be then?
20.
20. So your formative grade is worth 20% of your academic grade. Okay, so then your summative is then going to be worth the other 80.
What makes up your formative, you guys?
Homework.
Daily stuff, yep. Sometimes quizzes, yep.
In this class, though, because we're going to do weekly quizzes, those are going to be summative. So your summative grades are going to be your quizzes. We'll write that on there so you guys know. We will not have huge unit tests in here. We'll just do weekly quizzes instead. Okay. So your formative and your summative, these make up your academic grade. Together, they make up your academic grade. So that means at the end of the semester, when you're looking at MyStar and you're like, oh, look, I have an 83% in Algebra 2. Okay, that's your academic grade. But then at the end of the semester, what do you still have to do? What do you have at the end of the semester in all your classes? Exams. So you have your academic grade, and then you have your exam, and those two make up your semester 1 grade. Okay, so when you get your report card, it'll have your academic grade on it, it has your exam on it, and then it has your semester grade. And your semester grade, that's the one that stays with you for a super long time because it goes on your transcript. Okay, so when you go to apply to colleges, what the school does is they have to send your transcript to those colleges. And that's the grade that's on your transcript, are your semester grades. Okay, so those are the big ones. So, now this next part, C and D, this is the same for every course in the entire school. Okay, so do you guys know what your academic grade is worth versus the exam grade? Here's a hint, it's the same split as the other one.
80-20.
It's 80-20. So your academic grade is going to be worth 80% of your semester grade, and your semester exam is worth 20% of your semester grade. So to calculate your formative grade, okay, so we've been in class for a little while, we've done some formative work, and these are all your assignment grades, or student one's assignment grades. Now, each assignment is out of 2 points. So this one they got a 1 out of 2, this one they got a 1.5 out of 2, this one they got a 2 out of 2, a 2 out of 2, a 1 out of 2, a 1.5 out of 2, a 2 out of 2, a 0 out of 2, and a 2 out of 2. Okay? So in order to figure out your formative grade, we're going to take the points that were earned out of the points possible, just like we would on any assignment. And that's how we're going to figure out what percentage they have for their formative grade. So go ahead right now and let's add up all those points that they earned. You can use your phone calculator if you need to. Add up those points that were earned. And if you can add it up in your head, that's fine too. If you want to use your phone for a calculator, you can do that too. Lovey, did you get a number? 13. 13? Did anyone else get 13? All right, a couple people. You got 14? Okay.
I got 13.
You got 13? You seem pretty confident there, Tim. Are you sure it's not 14?
No, it might be 14, but I just counted.
No? Jill says 13? You got 13? I think it's 13. All right, so how many homework assignments were actually there?
10. Just don't answer. Right now.
How many homework assignments are there? 9. So what is the points possible then? 18. If there are 9 homework assignments, each one's worth 2 points, that makes 18 points possible. Okay, so this is the part where you're probably going to want that calculator because we have to figure out the percentage. What is 13 out of 18? And if you take your calculator and you do the 13 divided by 18, you get 0.7222222, right? To make that a percentage, you can either move the decimal over to, or you can times by 100, whichever you're more comfortable with. Okay. Now we're going to round to the nearest tenth, which is that first number behind the decimal. Okay. So that means we have to look to the number to the right of it, which is 2. And does anyone know the rule about rounding? If it's 5 or more, so if that number there is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we would take that 2 and we would make it a 3. But since it's not, then we can just forget about anything beyond that and say that that grade is 72.2%. That's your formative grade. So we will round to the nearest tenth on everything except for your semester grade, which we'll get there in a little bit. All right, so there's your formative grade. Is this student eligible for corrections? And if you read your rules and your syllabus yesterday, you'll know what that rule is. What is it?
Well, I know you know this.
Say it louder, I can't hear. A C? It wasn't a letter grade, it was given as a number. But your retakes are going to be done. We do not give just retakes, but you can do corrections on your weekly quizzes. But in order to do the corrections, they have to be done on a correction form, which I will show you eventually once we have a quiz. And the other thing is you have to have a certain formative grade. Does anyone remember what that formative grade was? It was a number.
20%.
Definitely not 20. You got to put in a little more effort than 20%.
Wait, I actually.
That means what did you score on that quiz and what do you have for your homework going into it? So if you have all your homework in and your homework grade should equal this before you can do corrections. It was in that syllabus that you probably skipped.
I skimmed through a little bit. I swear.
I know you do, I've heard you.
So it's going to be 80%. Your formative grade has to be maintained at an 80% or higher to do corrections. So that means you have to be doing a majority of your homework. I mean, 80% is quite a bit of your homework. So 80%. The student has to have 80% or higher to do corrections. Will this student be able to do corrections? No.
It's funny though, Mrs. Fox, in my 28 years of teaching, people who do their homework are ready for the test. Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's like you learn it when you're doing your homework, so you're ready for that quiz or test.
Okay, so no, they need at least 80% for their formative grade. All right, whenever you guys are taking a quiz, I always enter them as a percentage in your in MyStar or Zangle or whatever it is you call that thing, gradebook. So it looks like it's out of 100 because a percentage is out of 100. So this person got an 87%, a 76%, and a 43%. Okay, so the same idea here. What was the points they earned out of the points possible? So since I enter them as a percentage, what would be the maximum score you could get on a quiz? What is it? 100%. Okay, so the maximum point they could have gotten on this first one was 100, and then 100 and 100. So what is the possible points they could have gotten here? What is it? On each one, but how many were there? 3. So what is the points possible? 300. Okay, and how many points do they earn with the 87, the 76, and the 43?
206.
206? Anyone else get that? Yeah, okay. 206. All right, so now we're going to calculate that percentage. So we're going to take that 206, divide it by the 300. Either move that decimal or you can multiply by 100, and it will do it for you. So this one is 68.6666 ongoing. So again, we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So we have to look at that number to the right. Since that is a 6, what happens to this 6? It bumps up to a 7. So we write that as 68.7%. All right, now that we have our formative score and our summative score, we can calculate the academic grade. Okay, now the academic grade is made up of 2 parts. What makes up that academic grade? Formative and summative. So remember, we said that it is 20% of your formative grade and 80% of your summative grade. So we're going to have to take this sentence and we're going to actually have to write it as an equation. So your academic grade is equal to 20% is written as 0.20. Okay. Of in math means to multiply. If there is one word for you to remember to convert a story problem to mathematical equation, that word of is so important because it comes up all the time. So 20% of means to multiply, so I'm just going to put a parenthesis because that'll mean to multiply, your formative grade, and means to add. So 80% is 0.8 or 0.80. Of, again, means to multiply. There's your summative grade. So now we just have to fill in what we know. So we're looking for the academic grade, so let's put that as an X. A lot of times, you put a variable in whatever you're looking for. So X equals 0.2. The formative grade we found was 72.2 plus 0.8. The summative grade we found was 68.7. And now we can put that in our calculator to figure out what that academic grade is. Now, because of order of operations, you have to do the multiplication here and the multiplication here and then add those together. Okay, if you don't have a scientific calculator, you have to do that in a couple steps. If you have a scientific calculator or a graphing calculator, then you can type it in all at once. And it appears to be 69.4% is what it comes out as. For that academic grade. Okay, so the end of the semester is approaching. I say, okay, this is the last homework assignment or the last test or quiz or whatever. We put it in the grade book and then you say, Mrs. Fox, what's my grade? And I tell you. It's a 69.4%. And then you're like, sweet. Okay, now it's exam time. I got to work hard because I want to try to bump that over that 70 benchmark so that way I can bring my grade up, that full letter grade because it goes from a D plus to a C minus there. And C minus looks a heck of a lot better on your report card. Okay? So now we have to figure out our semester grade because we got a 74% on the exam. So we use the exact same equation because it's, again, 20% and 80%, but we just have to change the wording. So your semester 1 grade is made up of 20% of the exam plus 80% of the academic grade which we just figured out your academic grade. So the semester grade is what we're trying to figure out here. So x equals 0.20. What was the exam grade that the student earned? 74. Plus the 80%. What was the academic grade that the student earned? What? Yeah, the 69.4. That's the one we just calculated. Okay, so then we use our calculator. We're going to type this all out. And it comes out as a 70.32. And then at this point, this is when Zangle just says, oh, we don't even care what those decimals are. We always round down. So at that point, you don't have to worry about rounding. Just get rid of the decimals. And that's never how I will tell you how to ever round again in here. But that's how your gradebook works. So that's how we're going to do it on this worksheet. So in the very last one, you just ignore the decimals and you just put the actual number. So your semester 1 grade is 70%. So that student was able to bring it up to that next letter grade. They worked really hard and studied for that exam.